Welcome back. 2017 is a big deal in the Lone Star State as the Texas Cattle Feeders Association turns 50 years old. And TCFA is planning a big celebration at the organization's annual meeting in October. We sent reporter Russell Nemitz to Amarillo to get the details. Russell?
Thanks a lot, Kevin, and that's right. Today finds us in Amarillo, Texas. We're here in the Lone Star State for a very special reason. We're in town to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Texas Cattle Feeders Association. And certainly along those 50 years, a lot of men and women helped shape the feeding industry, not just here in the Lone Star State into what it is today, but the feeding industry nationwide for that matter. And one of those individuals was Clark Willingham out of Dallas, and you served as the TCFA president in 1988, then went on to the NCBA presidency in 1998. And you told the group this morning as you gathered at the PBS studios here in Amarillo with 25 other leaders like yourself, you kind of got an interesting start in this thing we call the U.S. beef cattle industry.
Right, Russell. I did it the old-fashioned way. I married a rancher's daughter. I did not grow up in the industry at all. And I think that was one of the reasons I got picked to get into the officer rotation. Charlie Ball and Richard McDonald, the execs at Texas Cattle Feeders, wanted somebody who had a more business-like approach to the industry. And I was just really surprised that I got tabbed at a fairly young age. I started lobbying for the industry in 1971, fresh out of law school, back when it was NCBA, and the office had 2 people in Washington, D.C. And because of Richard McDonald and especially Charlie Ball, they kind of started pushing me through the chairs here at TCFA and then the Texas Beef Council and the Meat Board and MEF and finally NCBA. In fact, I was one of the people who really started pushing for a consolidation in the industry because I was involved in 4 different things at the time, and we were all trying to go basically in the same direction. But my focus, I thought, would be we ought to get together and do it all together in one organization.
Well, you said you weren't in the industry that long, and you quickly figured out that as a producer or as a feeder or any other individual involved with the industry, that regardless, we have to give the customer what they want.
Well, that's exactly right. I think we were, at the time I was president of TCFA, we were losing market share to poultry. Because everybody perceived that poultry was more convenient and healthier. In fact, at my convention in 1988, I had Bo Pilgrim of Pilgrim's Fried Chicken come and speak to my convention attendees. He wore his Pilgrim's hat, had his chicken Henrietta under his arm, and talked about how good his product was and how convenient it was. And he said a funny thing. He said, our main advantage over beef is poultry doesn't taste. Beef has a distinctive steak flavor, which we all love, but he said poultry is more convenient because it just tastes like whatever sauce you put on it. And that was a new thought for our industry. And the other speaker was Stanley Marcus, who headed up Neiman Marcus, which is a real high-end store in Dallas. And his message to my convention attendees was we need to pay attention to what the consumer wants. And those 2 speakers really formed my opinions of where the industry should go ever since then. When I became president of NCBA, my platform was value-based marketing. We really need to get paid for producing better cattle, and we need to have cattle, a product that fits the consumers.
Well, the great taste of beef has caught on not only here in this country, but certainly around the world. And that leads me into your thoughts about the importance of trade and exports for the U.S. beef cattle industry.
Well, clearly I think trade is the biggest issue we have for the industry. Ross Wilson here at Texas Cattle Feeders was quoted recently as saying that the emerging middle class in China is roughly equal to the same as the population of the United States. So that's a huge market for U.S. beef.
Well, as we open the segment up, we are gathered here at the Texas Cattle Feeders Association office here in Amarillo. It's your 50th anniversary as an association. That in itself is quite the celebration, and certainly we started at the PBS studios, as I mentioned, and then we're going to kind of wind things up with a very special evening gala.
Yeah, the evening gala is really, it's fun. And it's been fun to get together with all the past presidents. What I was a little taken aback when I found out I'm on the top row in the lineup. I didn't realize it was quite that long ago that I was president, but it was in '88. And it's fun to see all my past colleagues.
As we kind of wind things up, Clark, I mean, as you mentioned, you've been in the industry for quite some time now, and your leadership has clearly shown through. What are some of the opportunities, or what do you think the future of the feeding industry, or the cattle industry for that matter, looks like moving forward into the next 50 years?
Well, people love beef. I don't think beef is going away, and the people in the industry that produce it, are going to be around for the next 50 years as well. I think we not have food safety as an issue. We have versatility as an issue. But I think having what we've got with the checkoff and the leadership we have at NCBA, we can meet the challenges. And one of the main ones, though, is going to be expand the market through exports.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for being on Cattlemen to Cattlemen with us.
Thank you, Russell.
All right, stay with us. We're going to have more right after this.